Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to Buckeye Politics. It's me, your favorite Ohioan. So today we're going to be doing the 2022 Senate prediction for the midterms. We did the governorship prediction yesterday, as many of you have already seen. If you have not seen it, I highly suggest you check it out. But anyway, we're going to do the Senate prediction today. So we're going to start by filling in the safe Republican states, and they include pretty much all the states you would expect. Much of the plains, deep south, parts of Appalachia, South Carolina. Alaska could be interesting. As many of you know, Lisa Murkowski is facing a primary challenge, and I'm really not sure who's going to win that primary yet. It's very competitive, and there could end up being two Republicans running to split the vote a little bit. But I think no matter what happens, the Republican will win there. And with trends in Alaska still being a pretty safe Republican state, I do expect the Republicans to win in Alaska by a safe margin. I also do expect the state of Florida to actually be safe for the Republican Party. Marco Rubio, he won by 8 points back in 2016, and since then Florida has just taken a massive shift to the right, and polls have shown him up by about 10 points anyways, so I do expect Marco Rubio to win in Florida by a safe margin. So with that, we're going to start filling the safe Democrat states. They include states of Oregon, California, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, New York, Connecticut, and Vermont. Now, these are all pretty self-explanatory. Illinois, I could possibly see being competitive, but I still think it's going to be over 10 points for the Democrats. Similar story with the governorship. The governorship's going to be like around D plus 12, D plus 11. So if I use 15 plus margins, Illinois will be likely. But because I use 10 plus is safe, it's safe for the Democrats for the governorship. And the Senate level, I think it's going to be like D plus 14, D plus 15. So I think the Democrats are still going to win Illinois by a safe margin. Every other state in here should be pretty self-explanatory. Larry Hogan is not running in Maryland, unfortunately. That's why it's safety. And Kerry Rahib running in Vermont. As much as I'd love to see it, I just don't think it's going to happen. So with that, we're going to start filling in the likely states for each side, and they include states of Wisconsin, Ohio, North Carolina for the Republicans, and Washington for the Democrats. So these are the likely states for every party. In Washington, I made a video on this last week. The polls show that Patty Murray, the incumbent Democrat, even in a deep blue state like Washington, is facing a solid challenge from Tiffany Smiley. I don't think she's going to win, but the polls have shown a tightening race. Smiley's running an excellent campaign. So I think, as of now, I do think Washington will be decided by less than 10 points and will be a likely state. Wisconsin, Ron Johnson, he's solid on the issues. He's well liked in Wisconsin. He actually has a higher approval rating this cycle than he did last cycle. And last cycle he won by almost 4 points. And so in a red wave year, with an increasingly Republican leaning Wisconsin, I see no reason Ron Johnson shouldn't win by a safe margin. Ohio, my great home state. The Republican primary is getting interesting. We're seeing Mike Gibbons surge in the polls, looking like he could possibly be the nominee. I would much rather have J.D. Vance. Mike Gibbons has some questionable takes on abortion and objectivism. But overall, if he got the nomination, I still think the vast majority of Ohio Republicans would support him. I know I would. So no matter what, the Republican nominee is going to win in Ohio. It's just going to be very interesting to see who that is and how good of a candidate they are. In North Carolina, Ted Budd, he had some issues at first, even after getting Trump's endorsement in terms of in the primary, but recently he's done very well in the polls, and North Carolina is already a Republican-leaning state and a Republican wave year. I think North Carolina is going to be likely are. So with that, we're going to fill in the lean states for each party, and we only have one state for the Democrats, and that is the state of Colorado. Now, Colorado is very interesting. The incumbent Democrat, he has a challenge up for him. I'll give him that. There's a recent polls that show a generic Republican is only losing to him by 1 point. That's it. It's like 46 Democrat, 45 Republican. And the Republicans, Cory Gardner could be a solid candidate. We have some solid candidates running Colorado. There's someone else running. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. It's gonna kill me. I can't remember his name. But we do have solid candidates in Colorado running. So I would not be surprised if maybe we pick up Colorado. I think it's going to be around D plus 3, D plus 4 as of now because of if we get a candidate and with national environment. I could see it flipping. I think we have a much better shot in the Colorado Senate than we do the governorship. But as of now, I still think the Democrats are going to hang on just by a much slimmer margin than they probably expect. So with that, we're going to fill in the lean states for the Republican Party, and they include states of Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. These are states that are I've been putting as lean Republican for the longest time. We're starting the state of Nevada. Adam Laxalt is running a good campaign. with the DSA taking over in Nevada. It's certainly not going to help the Democrats there. They're already bringing like progressives from like Nina Turner from Ohio. I think they're having like this AOC and some members of the squad flying out to Nevada, and that's not going to help them at all. And Adam Laxalt, he's running a solid campaign. He's focusing on local issues, and with the Democrats bringing in all these radicals from across the country that aren't really that popular in Nevada. Nevada is a swing state. It's not like Colorado. It's not like California. It's not even like Colorado. In all honesty, I mean, I could see them bringing some progressive types to Colorado, but Nevada is a very working class, Hispanic, socially conservative state to an extent, and so I really think that's going to hurt them. Similar story in Arizona. Blake Masters, the absolute Chad, looking like he's going to win the primary. It looks like he might get Trump's endorsement. Trump called him out at his rally a while ago. Holy crap, that was in January. Man, time flies. But like I said, Blake Masters is running an excellent campaign. It's looking more and more likely he's going to get the Trump endorsement. His opponent, Mark Brnovich, is absolutely awful on the issues. A lot of Arizonans are seeing through that. Blake Masters is doing very well in the polls, and I think Blake Masters will go on to easily beat Mark Kelly, especially considering Mark Kelly, he ran as this like moderate, like, oh, I'm an astronaut, oh, I'm this moderate, just your generic center-left guy, just and I'm an astronaut, and I'm just this generic guy like you and me, vote for me. And I mean, that's solid messaging in a suburban state like Arizona. You got to give Mark Kelly credit where credit is due. But in a red wave year, against an actual good candidate, and when Mark Kelly has not been this center left, just chill astronaut dude, he's been this he's just been a neoliberal who just votes for the Dems on everything. There's no way that he's gonna he's gonna hang on, in my opinion. I just don't see it happening, especially in a state like Arizona. Maybe if he was in like Colorado or I don't know, maybe New Hampshire, maybe, but not in Arizona. Arizona is still a Republican-leaning state. Because of that, I do expect Blake Masters to beat Mark Kelly by about 2, maybe even 3 points. Georgia, Herschel Walker is going to absolutely dominate in Georgia. He's leading in the polls already against okay, he's leading in the polls already for the I can't even remember who he's running against. Like Gary Black, I think, for the Republican primary. He has like 90% of the vote in those polls. It's not even funny how well Herschel Walker is doing in the Republican primary polls. He's kicking ass. No one's even close. And in the general, even in the general election, Herschel Walker is beating Raphael Warnock by like 3 points in some polls. Herschel Walker has been up in every single poll out of Georgia for the general, and in one he has him up by 3 or 4 points. So Herschel Walker, I think he's going to easily win Georgia, probably by about 2, 3, maybe even 4 points. Pennsylvania, similar story. Dr. Oz is going to come in, absolutely wipe the floor. Dr. Oz, a lot of people don't talk about this, but I've talked about this a lot. Nobody else has. Is that Dr. Oz is a very popular TV star in a lot of white working class, middle class homes across Pennsylvania, which is like Scranton area, Allentown, that part of the state. I mean, he is in Mahoning County in Ohio, Medina County in Ohio, where I'm from, Summit County, that part of the white working class part of the state. Dr. Oz is very popular. He's daytime TV, give you something to watch after working the hard night shift in the steel mills or whatever you may be doing, whatever your blue collar job entails. But Dr. Oz is very popular in a lot of those homes, and people know him, people love him, and he's a good, solid guy trying to help these people. And Dr. Oz, he's got huge crowds at a lot of his rallies. If you've seen them like on the news, he's gotten solid crowds, and I think he's going to win the primary, and I think he's going to win the general by a lean margin because he's running a solid campaign. State of New Hampshire. Tricky state, but I'm putting it in the tilty column. I get a lot of hate for this, but I just don't see it. I mean, it's a suburban state with it's a very suburban state. And it's relatively anti-Trump. It's not necessarily anti-Republican though. If we got a solid Republican, I think they would do very well there. But in a suburban state that voted for Biden by like 7 points, and then with I don't think Don Bolduc, who's the Republican leading in the primary polls, who is basically just a Q boomer, I don't think he's going to do very well in that state. I think he's going to obviously make it competitive because of the national environment. But if Don Bolduc's the nominee, which it looks like he will be, there are some really good candidates out there in New Hampshire that I think if they get the nomination, I would definitely flip New Hampshire to the tilt R column. But Don Bolduc, from what I've seen, is still leading. So because of that, I'm putting New Hampshire in the tilt D column. So with that, this is the 2022 Senate prediction as of today, February 28th, 2022. Hope you guys are all had an excellent day. Please be sure to tune in tomorrow. We are going to watch the Texas primary results live. It's going to be an epic live stream. It's going to be epic. Hope you guys have an awesome, great day, and I will see you in the next video tomorrow.